Hi, everyone. It's great to have you in this Ask the Experts. For those of you that were able to make it to the previous session, thanks for joining. I have a group of experts here with me. My name again is Shiraz Kupala, Group Product Manager in Microsoft Teams meetings. We're ready to take your questions. First off, if we can go to the next slide, I'll walk you through how the logistics work here. So we have three of us here moderating, myself, Annika, and James, also in our team. And then if you can go to the next slide, we have a whole bunch of other experts as well on the team. So the three of us are moderating. We have folks from around the world, actually, that are helping out with this session from different parts of the organization. So the way to engage here is to use the chat box to ask questions. And as the folks look over the questions, the experts will approve those and give you a chance to upvote so we know which questions to focus on for the broadest group of folks. And then we're going to try to have the experts answer verbally for you where possible, but if there's a lot of questions, we'll answer some of those offline as well. And we'll do our best to get to the popular ones. Here again, I introduced myself. Annika, could you go ahead and introduce yourself as well, and then we'll go to James.
Yes, hi, I'm Annika Elias. I'm a product manager on the Teams meetings team.
And James.
Hey, James Skay, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Microsoft Teams meetings.
Thank you. And as we can go to the next, or we can start to move into some of the questions. Yeah, so then this is being recorded. So please keep that in mind. The rest of our etiquette is important here, so we can answer questions quickly and get you what you need. Thank you very much. So with that, we'll see what we're coming in with the first few questions.
Hey, Shiraz, the first one is one that we've received a lot of today. And that one is, when can we expect the release of Breakout Rooms in GCC and commercial for our customers? Our HR training department has been asking since August when it was announced.
Fantastic. Breakout Rooms is one of our most requested features that's coming to Teams meetings this October. I think this specific question was on getting that into GCC. Is that correct, James?
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll be coming soon as well to GCC.
Actually, this is one of those SimShip ones where we're pleased to announce that we'll be delivering it to commercial and GCC at the same time.
Yeah.
And I have another question for you here. In the last session, it said that transcripts will be added to the meeting summary. Is that going to be on every meeting or something you have to set up?
So the way it's a great question. So the way the transcript works is when you turn it on, then you'll get that for each meeting. But you have to turn it on for that meeting so that you're providing that permission to be recorded. We don't automatically do that right now. It doesn't happen just behind the scenes.
And a follow-up question to that one, do I have to also record?
So you can have just the transcript on, or you can have the recording and the transcript on.
So another one that's coming in is can you speak to the differences on meeting chat when it comes to scheduled meetings versus channel meetings? It's a question from University of Texas.
Hi, thanks for joining us from there. So yeah, the way the meeting chat works in channel meetings and regular meetings is different. So in a regular meeting, it's just like any other group chat, effectively, right? It's tied to your meeting, but it works just like a group chat. Whereas in a channel meeting, it's tied to the channel post for that meeting, and so you're replying in that context. So it works a little bit differently than the group chatting.
And one more for you, Shiraz. Will we be able to change meeting settings by meeting options, such as disallow, unmuting, etc., during a meeting?
Yes, actually, you can change the meeting options settings during a meeting. You can go to the meeting details from within the meeting and access the meeting options, and that takes effect instantaneously. So we've sometimes played with it internally where if I need to move someone from an attendee to a presenter or vice versa, I can do that, and it immediately takes effect when you click save. from that.
And then one other one for you, Shraz. Can you please explain why some users get feature updates before others that are running the same version of Teams and in the same tenant?
That's a good question. So a couple of things that can impact that. It's a little bit more complex to tell exactly what's going on for any given user. But first off, the client, the Teams client itself, sometimes needs to update for those features to be available, and that depending on how much the person is using the Teams client, we don't want to interrupt what they're doing, so we don't update it while they're working. So that gets updated behind the scenes, when they're not using the client. So that can happen at different times. The second thing that can happen is occasionally with certain features, we will actually flight features to subgroups of users to validate that the features are behaving the way we expect out in the wild. And so there can be a period of time. We try to keep it short where some people are getting certain features while others may not see it quite yet.
One other question over here on my side. Once breakout rooms are created, can you then reuse them? If I want to always break off into the same groups automatically every meeting, for example.
James, is that one you'd like to answer? I know you did a great session earlier on breakout rooms.
Actually, yeah, that's a great plug. There's another session that's happening at Ignite, and you'll find it over on our Microsoft Tech community site regarding virtual breakout rooms. Yes, once you have virtual breakout rooms assigned in the same meeting, you can choose to open and close them as often as you want during the meeting. Now, that'll be the capability at launch. And then later on this year, we're going to allow meeting organizers the ability to predefine their rooms ahead of time, including for those breakout rooms used in a channel meeting, for you to be able to assign tags or use tags in the respective breakout rooms as you move forward. Great example would be education space, where you have a classroom divided into subgroups, and you want to just make sure that those subgroups can meet each and every time. You'll be able to do that later on this calendar year. Actually, Connie, let's have a question over to you. Can meeting attendees from outside your organization see and use the whiteboard in Teams meetings? Last time I checked, they could not.
That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure about that, James. I believe that is something that is still coming soon or is being released in the very near short term.
Yes, apologies for that one, Connie. I thought I heard you talking about whiteboard in a similar context. Let's just see here another one. There's a lot of great questions. Keep them coming. Hello from Germany. Let's just see here. Annika, do you have any on your side that you want to queue up while I go through the list?
Yes, let's do this one. Will it be possible to turn off chat and recordings in meeting options? The ability to chat and the ability to turn on recording.
Yeah.
Yes, this is something we are working on to be able to control which forms of communication are available, like chatting, or if you do not want the chat for various reasons. We're working on that. I don't have a timing yet. And then turning off the ability to record is something we also are looking at providing, so that you can control if you definitely do not want a meeting recorded.
Go ahead, Annika.
Here's a different kind of question. What feature of Microsoft Teams do you feel is the one feature that really increases productivity for your team?
Productivity, that's a great question. I think, frankly, the meeting chat, even though we just talked about turning off the meeting chat for various scenarios, the meeting chat is very, very powerful. It helps before the meeting because sometimes we want to send a bit of information or just get some context. Hey, what's this meeting about? Do we have the right people? And we can do that in the context of the meeting, but do that in a more a faster way than sending out an email or replying to the the calendar invite. So the chat before the meeting really helps. And then during the meeting, frequently people will be both, will be talking about something in a meeting, but then also there'll be sort of side conversations happening in the chat, which at first, when I first encountered it myself, even I thought, well, is that going to be distracting, and is that going to actually take people away from the meeting? And in fact, what it does is it helps keep multiple things flowing in the meeting so that the primary conversation doesn't get off track, while people still want to have quick sidebars answered so they can get, in context and in real time. If they had a quick question, someone can answer that. That can happen off in the chat while the main thrust of the conversation keeps going verbally. And so that's super helpful. And then what we find is afterwards, when the meeting is done, we're still chatting and collaborating, sharing content, sharing information afterwards. And so again, because it's all kind of, related to that meeting, we don't lose any of the sort of the context we already built up in the meeting. So I find that to be the most powerful feature we have. But I'd love to hear other experts that might have their other favorite features.
This is Arshad. I just wanted to add one thing here for it's not a feature, but actually the most important part and the important thing is about meeting is the life cycle of the meeting, which is before, during, and after, and that is something is very, very important for the productivity.
And I think my favorites from productive meetings, not Teams in general, but when you're in the meeting, is the raise hand functionality, because it allows anyone to flag that they want to speak, and that little bit of the awkwardness of, am I interrupting someone, or is it just a lag in the network, is taken away, because you can get called on to have your point into the meeting.
For me,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, I think it's interesting that video is, in fact, the key modality, for lack of better terms, within meetings that keeps the meeting honest. It keeps people engaged and keeps things on track. Whereas without video, who's doing what and listening to what becomes an interesting sidebar.
That's actually really true. And video is the second best to a face-to-face interaction. The one feature that I'll call out that I think helps not only keep me productive, but also others, is meeting recording. For those that weren't able to actually attend the meeting recordings are a great way to get quickly caught up. In the past, we've had capabilities in Stream where you could do a search in your meeting recording for your name or a particular keyword, and quickly jump to the point in time where that will be landing. And this week we also announced, speaking of meeting recordings, this week we announced capabilities where we will be saving Teams meeting recordings soon in OneDrive and SharePoint for ease of sharing for those outside of your organization. I encourage you, for those that are interested in learning more, to check out the additional sessions this week at Ignite.
So Shiraz, we have a popular question here about webinars and live events. So webinars is going to be released soon. And what is the difference between webinars and live events?
Well, that's a really great question. So the webinar, there's a lot of similarities between webinars and live events, actually. One of the key things about is the purpose for the communication. And another is how you set it up with your attendees. So in the case of a webinar, oftentimes that's either a training or a sales type presentation. You want people to register for that event. And so you have a registration tool form, maybe a web page that people can come to, so that when they come in, you can track their attendance, you can track their engagement, and then be able to follow up afterwards. Oftentimes a live event is more of a one-way broadcast, where you're just saying, hey, I've got some information I want to share. I'm going to share that out to a group of people. And that sometimes that might be a private event where it's registered, but usually that's just something you publish out broadly.
And I would like to add here is one of the new features that we are introducing and should be basically hitting the global tenants is the NDI feature, which is Network Device Interface, which allow OBS and other encoders to use this NDI capability for their broadcasts.
So there's a lot of interest in transcripts. When will we see other languages than English?
Yes, more languages. So both for transcripts and captions, we are working on adding more languages. We don't have a formal announcement here. There is another session diving into our language intelligence and other intelligence features in Teams meetings. You can learn more about that. But we do plan to bring more languages to both captions and transcripts. I think there was another question too I saw come through about can you control, can the administrator control whether or not a transcript is it possible or not? And yes, we work very hard to provide controls for these types of features so that if for your organization, for whatever reason, you need to not allow people to form a transcript or recording meeting, you can control those things for your tenant.
Shiraz, another question that's come up is, will we ever be able to expect to see support for multiple organizers of Teams meetings?
This is a great question, and what's interesting about it is it's actually not just a Teams question, but it's an Outlook and Microsoft Exchange question, because the first step is can there be multiple organizers or owners of that calendar invite, so to speak? And that's something that we're working closely with the Outlook and Exchange teams to fundamentally enable so that then multiple people can control and update that invite that works across, Outlook, Exchange, and Teams, right? Because it's the same underlying storage. And that would then allow you to have someone else kind of fill in some of the details that you need.
And then we have one here from a local person in Puyallup asking, for Teams live events, will we get the ability to show multiple presenters at the same time for a dialogue-based live event? I think that might be more related to some of the custom layouts that are coming to a Teams meeting, but I don't know if there's anyone on the call that's familiar with live events and or what's coming down the pipe with regards to multiple presenters.
This is Arshad. The multiple presenters can be, using NDI capability with OBS or with any third party, encoder can be used to do the production for multiple presenters. And that capability will be is available in the Teams app and device.
Perfect. Thank you, Arshad.
I have a question to our SMEs, if there's anyone that's well-versed in licensing of A3 and A1, if there's any restrictions on Teams participations for A1 users.
I don't think we have any EDU licensing experts on the call, Annika, and I believe that's education specific.
Okay. So
let me see if I can find an answer while you chat.
If not, we'll follow up offline.
Another question that's come across is on Together Mode scenes. When can we expect that these will be made available? I'm happy to take.
Yeah, go ahead, James, and take that question.
So Together Mode, if you haven't used Together Mode, highly encourage you to use it. It's an experience unlike any other. And then earlier today in our keynotes, we've showcased the ability to choose scenes for Together Mode. Currently, it looks like you're in an auditorium with up to 49 people. Together Mode scenes will allow you to toggle your background, your shared background, into multiple elements. From a scene meant for 4 to 5 people in kind of a mock-up coffee shop to a different kind of auditorium, we're hoping to bring, or we're expecting to bring Together Mode scenes to our commercial, education, and GCC customers by the end of the calendar year. And in addition, I want to highlight 2 things on Together Mode in case the nuance didn't come across. We're also bringing the ability for the presenter to turn on Together Mode for everybody. So currently today in a Teams meeting, it's up to the individual participant to go into which in the new meeting experience, to go in and toggle on Together Mode. So we're going to allow presenters to be able to turn it on for everybody, as well as determine the setting that'll be used for everybody. And the other thing that I want to call out is for those that have used Together Mode, you may have noticed that there sometimes can be a variance between the size of your person next to the person next to you. And we will be iterating on Together Mode with the enhancement of AI that'll automatically look and size you proportionately next to or based on the size of the person next to you. So there will no longer be this outlier effect where somebody who's sitting really close to the camera might appear larger than the person that's sitting next to them. So look for those improvements for Together Mode by the end of this calendar year. And as we mentioned for everything else, for the latest status of that feature, as well as everything that we shared at Ignite, the Microsoft 365 roadmap will have the latest status, and you can find that at aka.ms/M365 roadmap.
And James, maybe this is a question for you. Is there another session, Ignite session on Breakout Rooms where you can see a demo?
There is another breakout session for Breakout Rooms, and I'll give you the short URL where you can see that today. I need to pull it up. It is aka.ms/PR109. So aka.ms/PR109. That'll give you everything that's coming soon to Breakout Rooms. Next month in October, give you a demo of it, and it'll also share with you what's coming as a fast follow once we've GA'd Breakout Rooms next month. And speaking of Breakout Rooms, I see another question here. Will Breakout Rooms content be searchable? Where does the content reside? What happens if the associated team site is deleted or archived? It's important to call out that think about a Teams meeting very similar to the ones you have on a daily basis. They're a regular meeting, Together Mode, live captions, soon to be live transcription. And let's be honest, and excited for speaker attribution coming. All that is available in a breakout room because a breakout room is essentially a meeting from a meeting. And just like in your regular Teams meetings, all the chats, files, whiteboards that are associated to that meeting are included in the Teams meeting chat. So a breakout room is going to essentially be another meeting chat that only the participants of that breakout room have access to, including the organizer from the main room. So anything that's created in the breakout room will be available in your Teams chats today, as you typically would see it. And again, that is only available to those that were located in the breakout room in addition to the meeting organizer.
So switching topics to channel meetings, there's a question on how do I get the channel meeting to show up on everyone's Outlook? I assume that means in the Outlook calendar.
So one way you can do that is when you create the channel meeting, you can also invite people to that meeting. You could invite the group that's associated with the team, and then it'll send that invitation to everybody in the group, and it'll get on their calendars.
And I've also seen that you can actually go to Outlook and subscribe to a team calendar to get them to show up that way as well.
That's right.
There's one
question I'll go ahead and take, which is it on the radar to attend live meetings in a separate window, just like main meetings? And yes, it is on our radar to be able to have the live event popped out, just like the meetings do.
The one thing that I want to leave this group with before folks start to drop off is a list of all of the team sessions that are available at Ignite this week. And I'll make an announcement and share that with the group. It's aka.ms/Teams sessions. And that is where you can see all of the sessions related to Teams meetings, calling devices, in addition to chat, collab, and even the Power Platform. So feel free to take a look there. And consider that your one-stop shop for all things related to Teams here at Ignite this week. But I think we have time for a few more questions. Shiraz, for you, how will the new Teams meeting summary feature work? Or maybe they're referring to recap.
Yeah, so what will happen is at the end of the meeting, when you go back into the calendar item, we will optimize that view so that you see the information you need after the meeting. So normally when you go back to the calendar item, you just see what you saw before. It has the date, the time, the location, all that. Well, if the meeting is passed, all of that information is less necessary. We will collapse that, and then we'll highlight the artifacts that are relevant to your meeting. So if you recorded the meeting, we would show the recording and transcript. If you didn't, those would not be visible there, right? Similarly, if you added notes, the attendance report, all of those different pieces will be available right on that screen, just by going back into the previous item in the calendar.
Perfect. Annika, I'll turn it over to you if you have anything queued up.
I do not just right now, actually. There's lots of good questions. Actually, here, will there be multi-monitor support for sharing, presenting, instead of picking just one at a time?
Sharing more than one monitor at the same time. It's something that we get a request occasionally, and so it's something we've been talking about. There isn't plans right now to do that.
There's one on my end around, will background noise reduction feature be coming soon to Teams meetings? It's on the Teams blog, but I haven't heard anything for a bit. Yes, we are still bringing that background noise reduction to Teams. In fact, you're going to be reading more about that over the coming weeks. We've been looking to do some fine tuning with that and helping us bolster some algorithms. And so we are even closer to releasing that. And again, stay tuned to the Microsoft 365 roadmap for the latest status on that. Let's just see here.
And here is a question about being able to see pop-up chat, because many coworkers forget to open the chat pane in the meeting. So this is referring to what we were showing about the chat bubbles that are coming. And if you have any specific thing, otherwise the statement that we're saying with Ignite, it will be coming by the end of the year. And if you look at the blog that I believe James posted before, you can see some more information about what's new and when things are coming after Ignite.
And then
that's one of my favorite features. Sorry, James, I have to say it's one of my favorite features. We're already using it in internal builds as we're building it, and it's a lifesaver, I'll say. So I hear your desire, and we're working to bring it soon.
And I think we're at time, but there's one last question, Shiraz, and I believe this is one that's passionate for you. Are there plans to add live polling and surveys to Teams meetings?
Oh, yes. We've been working on this for a while. So we are bringing live polls to the meeting. That's actually being built on Microsoft Forms. So you'll be able to use all the analytics capabilities in Microsoft Forms, but it's built right into Teams, so you can go ahead of the meeting. You'll be able to set up your polls ahead of time. Just open the calendar item, add that polling capability. You can set up multiple polls and then only launch them when you're ready. So you can launch a pre-meeting poll, which will show up in the chat, and people will get that in their chat feed, so that you can ask a lead-up question to your meeting. Then when you get into the meeting, you can launch polls whenever you're ready. People will get a pop-up dialogue to answer that poll and then see the results. And then when it's all done and you've done all of your polls after the meeting, you can of course send a post-meeting poll too. How did it go? What would you have changed? Which is a very common thing. And then finally, all the results are in that one place in that meeting recap. So you'll just go to the polls tab and you'll review all of the results in one place. We're really excited to bring that feature out.
And with that, Shiraz, Annika, any last minute words or tips or tricks we want to share with the audience?
I'll let you go first, Annika.
I would say my Plantronics headset is my most favorite feature, because it cuts out any random background noise around here. Maybe not the dog barking, but any of those annoying little noises that can be just from being in a home environment rather than the office. So this one, I make sure to keep it charged every night, so it's ready to go for a full day.
That's awesome, Monica. I think for me, I think one feature people don't always know about, for those who do, it's sort of like, oh yeah, of course, is pinning. You can pin chats and you can pin channels. And whenever someone is new to Teams or hasn't really explored it fully, that feature is a lifesaver for me. So I have my boss as one of my first pinned chats, right? So if he sends me a message, it's right at the top of my list and gets highlighted in bold. And folks that key folks on my team, so I can always get. And then there's a section at the bottom because there's a you can pin certain number of chats so it shows on screen. And I'm always rotating in what's the hottest topic I'm working on right now, so I can always pin and unpin, so it's always top of mind for me. So pinning chats and channels, really powerful feature. To close out, I want to thank all of you for coming to Ignite and watching this session and all the sessions to learn about everything we're doing in Teams meetings and across Microsoft capabilities we're releasing. We are excited and continuously working to bring more and more capabilities, the things that you ask about. My team is going to be looking through all of these questions that we didn't answer to look for things that we need to prioritize on our roadmap to bring in the coming versions of meetings. So thank you very much for your support and feedback.
Perfect. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Hope everybody has a great Ignite 2020.
Awesome. Great job, team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.